Hello, thanks so much for joining me today for Job Assignments Part 3. So it started out as something where we thought it was going to be one quick session, and ends up it's three pretty good sessions. So job assignments are a really cool new part of Totara 9. They add quite a lot of functionality, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about them. If you haven't watched the other two sessions, we have 2 other sessions on job assignments that have been posted to the Totara Office Hours playlist. So I encourage you to go take a look at those. This will be posted up there as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taylor Craig. I'm a platforms consultant here at Kineo. I have the opportunity to work really closely with our solution architects during implementation and onboarding to make sure that our clients are comfortable with the solutions that are laid out for them. I make sure that you're trained on core Totara and understand the system as it is just on its own. But then also I work with you to train you on the customizations that we develop for you, as well as write out some administration guide information for you there. So lots of things I get to do. I wear lots of hats around here, and I really enjoy working with Kineo. So I'm glad that you have joined us. A little bit about office hours. What we do is I have about a 15-20-minute presentation, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, on just a topic about Totara. Today is a little bit different because of the holidays. We've pushed it up to Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, but in the future it'll go back to our usual regularly scheduled time. Every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time we have office hours. So we do post that little feature presentation up on YouTube. So we post that 15-20-minute talk on YouTube for anyone and everyone to access. But then we also just open the floor for 45 minutes. You can come and you can bring me any of your questions. We encourage you to bring questions that you're willing to share with other clients, because this is client-only time. We want you guys to learn from each other, and we want you to be able to get the information that you need quickly. So feel free to bring those questions to me. If I don't know the answer, I bet I know somebody who does, and I will track them down and get it. So today what we're talking about is how the new job assignment situation, how exactly does that impact reporting? I've noticed a couple of little gotchas here and there on reporting that at first I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But I contacted Totara and they explained why it makes perfect sense. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we'll also talk about kind of how this impacts audiences. What does this mean for audiences, and what can we do with audiences now? So without further ado, let me get my site pulled up here. Today has been busy, so didn't have it all ready to go. Let's get that going. I'll pull it across. Okay, so inside of the system, the first thing we want to take a look at is reports. So I'm going to go to Site Administration. They're still located in the same exact spot, so nothing's changed as far as that's concerned. Report Builder, Manage Reports. You're going to notice there's lots of places now, and you had this in the past, where you could add in the organization column, you could add in the position column, you could add in the manager column, you could add all that information in. You can still do that, but one of the main gotchas, let's take a look at this, is going to be the ability to sort. So as you know, lots of these headers, so completion organization, course name, username, we've always had the ability to kind of resort these reports based on those headers. But you'll notice here my user position names, I no longer can sort based on that when I have somebody who has more than one position or more than one organization. So you'll notice I can't sort organizations either. When I first saw that, my initial gut reaction was, uh-oh, maybe something, it was an accident here. And it wasn't, actually. And it makes perfect sense as to why you can't sort this anymore. So the reason you can't sort it is because there's really no way of telling it which one you're wanting to sort it by. Do you want to sort it by general manager? Do you want to sort it by frontline associate? Which one are you wanting to sort by? So what we're going to be looking at and things that you want to be aware of is that you need to add in those filters. Those filters are there. Just be aware that you may have to add those filters. They may not be standard in the report, right? So you may have to go in, edit this report, click on filters, and add in position, organization, and all of that. One thing to keep in mind here, what you can do then, is come in and say user's position is any of the selected, and then you can choose the appropriate position from the appropriate framework if you have more than one. Typically you don't. In our case, we do. Okay, so I'm going to say general manager. Okay, and I only have one guy here that's holding that role, so I'm going to search. Okay, and so that's going to narrow that report for me. So now I'm going to get to filter and narrow that report. Now sometimes, again, sometimes this particular filter and this particular filter aren't necessarily just standard in a report when you create one. So you do have to kind of go in and just add those filters. That way you have them and you can narrow those reports if that's something that you need to be able to do. Okay, one thing to keep in mind as well, and let's take a look here. We may need to log in as a manager. Yeah, let's get in there as Aaron Hart's manager. One of them. He's got two because he actually holds two different roles. So I'm going to go in as Johnny Bell. I want to show you something else. Let me get another browser pulled up here. Another thing that you might consider doing as far as reports are concerned, you got to remember you've got embedded reports in lots of different locations on your site, like the My Team page. That is an embedded report. So it never hurts to give your managers, people who see that My Team tab, never hurts to give them a little more information. So if you feel like they need that information, it's not a bad thing to come in here and add these. Like this user's organization and user's manager name, those are typically not just part of the My Team report just straight out of the box. They're there and they're available and it's simply a configuration. But now that we have the ability to add in these additional organizations, managers, positions, and all of that good stuff, sometimes you want to make sure that people who are managing these individuals understand that they're maybe not their only manager. So if that's the case and you need to be able to do that, you can come in and you can add that information to that report. You can also give them the filters that they need so that they can filter that down and just see the people that are relevant at that moment for them. So you'll see here that Johnny actually, he's over a couple of different stores. You'll see here he's this person's manager at 4015, he's this person's manager at 4020, and he's Aaron's manager at 4024. Okay, so things to consider and giving them the ability then to narrow based on all the stores that they may actually be a manager at. Okay, so something to keep in mind, something to consider and think of. So when you're looking at all those reports, don't forget, lots of things inside the system are embedded reports, and now you may want to add in some additional filters, some additional columns, some different things here and there if you're going to use multiple job assignments. Okay, so how does this affect audiences? Probably you're already sitting here thinking, okay, I bet I can build audiences built on this stuff, and you absolutely can. So underneath users, accounts, audiences, I'm just going to use this one that I already have built. Just like always, you have your rule sets. Nothing there has changed, and really nothing has changed as far as how these work. You just kind of have to think about what it is that you're doing and what you're choosing. So you do have, looks like I'm already using positions. Position is any of their job assignments equal to frontline associate, so that's what we used. So nothing has really changed here, but just keep in mind that whatever you end up pulling, if you use general manager, frontline associate, any of the different positions that you have, it could potentially pull in people who hold multiple roles. Okay, so something to keep in mind. And when I mention that they hold multiple roles, what I'm referring to, I apologize, it's probably not the best terminology to have used, that they hold multiple job assignments. Okay, so they may be a manager in one place and they may be just an associate in another, but still work for the same company and maybe have different managers. So just keep that in mind, that it's going to potentially impact audiences that you build, that people may be part of multiple audiences because they may meet lots of that same criteria now. So if you're utilizing multiple job assignments, something to keep in mind, you have the ability to do that now. One thing to keep in mind, guys, that I want you to be aware of, this job assignment stuff, we've been talking about it again for the last 3 weeks, and one thing to note, it's a brand new feature to version 9. You don't have to use it. You can turn it off, and that is going to be located in here somewhere. There it is. It's the very last setting. So the very last setting underneath Advanced Features is where you can turn this off and on. So if at this time you don't really have a need for it, you don't want to clutter anything, you don't want to confuse anything, you can actually turn this off and save your changes. And then it's basically, it's still very similar. You do still need to add in a job assignment title. That's still going to be necessary and something that you need, but it's not going to be as overwhelming potentially because you won't have the ability to add in that stuff. And it can be added at a later date if you need to add it at that time. So thank you again for joining me today. I hope that each of you have a wonderful, safe holiday, and looking forward to seeing you all back here soon. And we'll see you back next week. Let's go ahead, pop that up there, and actually let me look at my calendar, see when we're hosting again. Let's see here. Yep, we will be back Thursday the 29th. So we should be back and ready for something on Thursday, December 29th. So we will be hosting office hours that day. All right, guys, have a fantastic holiday. Thanks again, and let me know your questions.